Have you ever wondered what it feels like to grow old without ever really aging? To wake up every morning at 97, full of energy, tending your garden, making breakfast, riding a bike through the village. Not because you have to, but because you want to. Somewhere in the southernmost islands of Japan, there's a tiny village where people forget to die. Here, grandmothers are still dancing, grandfathers still fishing. Friends who've known each other for 70 years still gather every week to laugh, to share stories, and to remind us of what life can truly feel like. They live longer, much longer, than anyone else on Earth. But more importantly, they live better. So what's their secret? Let me take you to Okinawa, the land where purpose, community, and a simple bowl of soup might just hold the key to a longer, happier life. The island where people forget to die. There's a small island in the Pacific where time seems to move differently. In Okinawa, Japan, it's not unusual to meet a fisherman who's 101, still casting his nets at dawn, or a 102-year-old woman who wakes up each morning to cook breakfast for her great-great-grandchild and calls it her greatest joy. Here, age isn't something to fear, it's something to grow into. Okinawa is home to the highest concentration of centenarians in the world. For every 100,000 residents, there are as many as 50 people over the age of 100, more than double the rate in the US. And what's even more remarkable, most of them don't just live long, they live well. They garden, they dance, they cook, they laugh, they belong. You won't find many retirement homes here. Instead, you'll find grandmothers walking to the market with their neighbors, elders leading morning Tai Chi sessions in the park, and children growing up in communities where aging isn't hidden away, it's honored. When asked the secret to their long, joyful lives, most Okinawans don't mention pills, diets, or supplements. Instead, they smile and say two simple words, Ikigai and Hara Hachi Bu. In the next part, we'll explore the first of these timeless secrets. The 80% rule that might just change the way you look at every meal. Imagine sitting down for dinner. The aroma is incredible. Your favorite dish is on the table, and just as you feel like going in for another bite, you stop. Not because you're full, but because you're almost full. That's the heart of Hara Hachi Bu, an ancient Okinawan phrase that means eat until you are 80% full. It's a simple rule, but one that's been quietly saving lives for centuries. Science now confirms what Okinawans have always known. Overeating taxes the body, accelerates aging, and leads to chronic disease. But stopping at 80%? It gives your body space, time, balance. It takes about 20 minutes for the stomach to signal the brain that it's full. Most of us eat past that point without even noticing. But Hara Hachi Bu teaches mindfulness, a moment of pause that changes everything. Instead of counting calories or chasing the next trendy diet, Okinawans just slow down. They serve themselves small portions in delicate bowls. They eat with gratitude, not guilt. And they end their meals feeling light, not stuffed. The average Okinawan consumes about 1,300 calories per day compared to the typical 2,500 in the US. But what matters more than the number is the intention behind it. One Okinawan elder once said, "If you always eat until you're full, your body will get tired. If you stop just before, your spirit stays light." It's not just about food, it's about restraint, balance, and the wisdom of knowing more isn't always better. Next, we'll explore what they eat, the colorful, vibrant, anti-aging foods that fill their plates, and may just help you rewrite your own story of aging. If you were to peek inside a typical Okinawan kitchen, you might be surprised by how ordinary it looks. No fancy supplements, no superfood powders, no high-protein meal plans or trendy detoxes, just simple, colorful ingredients. carefully chosen, lovingly prepared, and served with a deep sense of respect for the body. On any given day, an Okinawan might eat 18 different types of food, many in tiny portions, all beautifully balanced. Their meals aren't about abundance, they're about diversity. They eat rainbow-colored vegetables, bitter melon, purple sweet potatoes, carrots, daikon radish. They enjoy sea vegetables like kombu and wakame, rich in iodine and minerals most Western diets lack. They sip miso soup made from fermented soybeans, topped with scallions and tofu. And of course, there's always a small piece of fish, grilled, steamed, or lightly salted, never deep fried. Even when they eat outside, they bring their own bento box, neatly packed with rice, steamed veggies, maybe a slice of pickled plum, a cube of tofu, and a few green tea leaves. It may look modest, but it's a nutritional powerhouse. In contrast, the average American diet revolves around 10 or fewer types of food, many ultra-processed, high in sugar, salt, and unhealthy fats. We don't lack calories, we lack variety. We don't lack food, we lack real nourishment. And it shows in our energy levels, our immune systems, our waistlines, and our longevity. What Okinawans understand is this: food is not just fuel, it's medicine, it's connection, it's a quiet celebration of life 3 times a day. But even with all this nutrition, there's something more powerful than what's on their plate. It's why they wake up every morning. It's who they cook for. It's the invisible force that keeps them moving forward even at 100 years old. In the next part, we'll uncover that force, the quiet power of Ikigai, and how discovering your own purpose could be the missing ingredient to a longer, richer life. In the Western world, we talk a lot about retirement, counting down the days, dreaming of the moment we can finally stop working. But in Okinawa, the word retirement doesn't even exist. Instead, they have Ikigai, a beautiful, untranslatable concept that means a reason for being, not a job title, not a paycheck, but something deeper, the reason you wake up every morning. For some, Ikigai is fishing for the family, even at 101. For others, it's tending a garden, teaching karate, watching over great-grandchildren, or cooking a traditional soup for neighbors every Sunday. It's not about productivity, it's about purpose. In a study of over 50,000 adults in Japan, researchers found that people who had a strong sense of purpose, their own ikigai, had significantly lower risks of heart disease and early death. Even more telling, at age 75, 95% of those with a purpose were still alive, compared to only 83% without one. Ikigai is personal. It doesn't have to be grand or world-changing. It might be painting, volunteering, calling an old friend every Tuesday. It could be as simple as making your spouse laugh each morning, but it matters. Because when you know why you're here, your days gain shape, your steps gain energy, your heart stays young, and maybe, just maybe, it's the missing ingredient in how we grow older in the West. So, how do you find your own ikigai? Start with a question: what would I still do? Even if no one paid me, no one praised me, and no one watched? The answer might not come today, but if you keep asking one morning, just like in Okinawa, you'll wake up, smile, and know exactly why. Next, we'll look at how Okinawans stay young, not just in spirit but in community, through an ancient tradition called Moai that ensures no one grows old alone. In America, growing old often means growing apart. Friends move away, kids get busy, streets grow quieter, and loneliness sneaks in slowly. But in Okinawa, aging looks different because no one does it alone. At the heart of their long, joyful lives is a tradition called Moai. Moai began as a financial support system. neighbors pooling money in times of need. But over the years, it evolved into something far richer, a lifelong circle of friends. From childhood, Okinawans are placed into a Moai, a small group that meets regularly, shares meals, supports one another, and grows together through every stage of life. They laugh together, cry together, celebrate birthdays, mourn losses, walk each other home after long conversations over hot tea. One researcher visited a small village where 5 women, all over 100 years old, still met every Thursday, as they had for over 70 years. They played games, shared stories, complained about their husbands, laughed until they cried. And when asked why they believed they had lived so long, one simply said, "Because I never had to carry life alone." In the US, loneliness affects over 1/3 of people over 45. It's not just emotional, it's biological. Chronic loneliness increases the risk of heart disease, depression, and even early death. But Moai? It's an antidote. It's not a social club. It's not a hobby group. It's a promise. We walk through life together. And that promise might be more powerful than any medicine. So what can we learn? Maybe it's time to stop waiting for friendship to happen and start building it, deliberately, slowly, with intention. Maybe your Moai is one phone call away, one invitation, one shared cup of coffee. And maybe, just maybe, it's never too late to stop being alone. Next, we'll explore something more practical and delicious. The 4 key foods that help Okinawans stay strong, sharp, and spirited well into their 90s and beyond. What if living longer wasn't about taking more pills, but eating more simply? In Okinawa, the secret to strength, clarity, and vitality often comes down to 4 humble foods, eaten every single day for decades. They're not exotic, they're not expensive, but they work. 1. Fish. The ocean's gift to the heart and mind. Okinawans eat fish, not fried in oil or buried in sauces, but lightly grilled or steamed, often caught that very morning. Fish like mackerel, sardines, and tuna are packed with omega-3 fatty acids, which help reduce inflammation, lower bad cholesterol, and protect the brain from cognitive decline. Studies show that older adults with high levels of omega-3s live on average 2.2 years longer than those with low levels. In a culture where Alzheimer's and heart disease are rare, fish isn't just food, it's medicine served on a plate. 2. Tofu, the silent strength of soy. Tofu is a staple on the Okinawan table. Soft, clean, and rich in plant-based protein, calcium, and magnesium. Unlike raw soybeans, tofu is easier to digest and more bioavailable, meaning your body can actually absorb its nutrients. It helps build muscle, support bones, and keep blood pressure in check, without the heaviness of red meat. For many elders in Okinawa, tofu is comfort food. For science, it's a quiet anti-aging ally. 3. Seaweed, the green gold of longevity. From kombu to wakame to nori, seaweed shows up in soups, rice balls, and even snacks. It's rich in iodine, calcium, iron, and antioxidants, and some types, like kelp, help regulate estrogen and reduce the risk of breast cancer. Just 9 grams of dried seaweed can provide the same potassium as a whole banana. And unlike processed salty foods, seaweed nourishes without draining the body. 4. Fresh veggies and fruits, the real multivitamin. Every Okinawan meal is colorful, with 7 or more kinds of vegetables, including bitter melon, purple yams, carrots, and leafy greens. These are loaded with fiber, vitamins, and antioxidants that reduce oxidative stress, the root of many chronic diseases. What's more, many of these vegetables grow right in their own backyards. They don't just eat local, they live local. None of these foods are magic, but together, eaten daily in small, respectful amounts, they form a foundation for life that's not just long, but deeply alive. In the next part, we'll take a step back and look at the bigger picture. Why do Okinawans believe less is more? And how can simplicity and not abundance be the true secret to joy? In the Western world, we often chase more success, more stuff, more comfort. But in Okinawa, people seem to chase less. Their homes are small, their closets are light, their meals are modest, and yet their hearts full. There's a quiet philosophy that runs through every part of Okinawan life. Just enough is plenty. They don't eat until they're stuffed. They don't fill their homes with gadgets or stock their shelves with 10 brands of the same product. They don't see simplicity as sacrifice. They see it as freedom. An Okinawan grandmother once said, "Too much salt ruins the soup. Too much stress ruins the soul." In their world, balance is everything. When they cook, they use 8 parts of seasoning instead of 10, not to cut corners, but to preserve the food's natural taste and to protect their kidneys. When they work, they give 80%, not out of laziness, but to keep energy for family, for health, for life. It's the same with emotions. They don't suppress, they don't explode, they flow, like tea poured slowly into a warm cup. This approach, called chawa in Japanese, means harmony, not perfection, not endless growth, just enough. And maybe, in a world obsessed with having it all, this is the most radical idea of all. That a simple life, a quiet life, can be the richest life of all. In our final part, we'll tie it all together. How can you begin to live like Okinawans, right where you are, and rewrite what aging looks and feels like? What if aging wasn't something to dread, but something to embrace? In Okinawa, growing older isn't about slowing down. It's about settling in to your purpose, your people, your peace. After all we've seen, the 80% rule, the simple meals, the Moai, the Ikigai, one truth rises above them all. It's not how long you live, it's how well you live. And well in Okinawa doesn't mean perfect blood work or expensive treatments. It means mornings filled with meaning, meals shared with laughter, movement that feels joyful, not forced, and a rhythm to life that honors both effort and rest. Maybe we've been doing aging wrong. Maybe it's not about fighting time. Maybe it's about flowing with it, with grace, curiosity, and connection. So what now? Start small. Eat a little less, but a little better. Call that old friend. Plant something. Move your body with gratitude, not guilt. Ask yourself not what you should do, but what makes you feel alive. Because no matter where you live, whether in a quiet town in Iowa or a busy street in Brooklyn, the spirit of Okinawa can live in you. And maybe, just maybe, the best part of your life hasn't passed. It's just beginning.